Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Good morning or afternoon.
Come on, dude. Show goes up at night. It's good morning.
Yeah, whatever. Good midnight, everyone. Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm on vacation right now as this episode goes out. So
some people have all the luck and all of the fun, and look what your patron dollars are feeding, folks. I'm just kidding. The patron goes straight towards the show.
Yeah. I was going to say, because when this comes out, I'll be sleeping.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody wins. So I put the call out to you, the listeners, and you sent in a whole boatload of questions here. We're going to have a mailbag episode. We're not going to do anything else because it's a couple weeks in the past, but that's okay. Yep. So let's just get started with Maximus Prime sends us some questions in Discord. Every fall in gaming has historically been the big game season. What fall do you think was the best and worst season you've experienced since you've been gaming?
Oof, that's a tough one.
Worst season... I feel like we haven't had any bad falls. Like there's been at least one high-profile, quote-unquote, holiday game coming out.
Yeah, dude. Madden comes out every year. So does FIFA. So does Call of Duty.
Well, I mean, for more for us, you know.
I don't really pay attention to the seasonal releases, though.
Yeah.
Only because I honestly didn't even notice that there was a fall release schedule until I heard it from Giant Bomb years ago, and then noticed that, holy crap, they're right. When Madden comes out, that's when video games happen.
Yeah, the floodgates open. Yeah.
Well, they said it best this year, where it's like John Madden saw its shadow, so we'll have another 2 more months of video games.
Yeah. That season ends March 20th, 2020.
Yes. Oh, I meant to ask, are we doing titles this episode, Boston?
I wasn't planning on it, but sure, if we've got something.
Okay. Because obviously we won't get those usual listeners in the chat throwing out titles at the end of the streams thinking, I should probably write down some titles if we have some.
If not, I'll just title it Mailbag 2019.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a holiday that came where there wasn't anything that big.
I can tell you a holiday where the DDoS happened, and that sucked. But that's not really release related.
I feel like that's probably just going to happen every holiday now to some giant... It'll probably happen a fortnight now instead of Xbox Live and PSN. Just because of sheer size.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like good and bad like seasons, but my biggest thing is I'm so far behind the release schedule at any point. Yeah. That it's like, I don't know what came out when. Like, I've got games where I'm thinking for the game of the year this year. It's like, oh, this thing should go on the game of the year. It's like, wait, that came out 4 years ago? What?
Right.
Like,
well, and the problem we're having recently, too, is that there's legitimately great stuff coming out in, like, June. Like,
January.
Yeah, it has historically been, like, if you don't get out by March, it's coming out in November. You know, you don't release anything during the summer, but God, they're just this year I think we got like maybe a month off in the middle of the year, but that was about it.
I can tell you what one of my favorite ones of recent memories was. And that was 2017.
Okay.
For one reason and one reason only. Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
Because I came into that game expecting nothing and walked away with, I think that might have been my game of the year that year.
Yeah.
Because Assassin's Creed Origins not Odyssey, is...
Okay.
It blew me away. They took a year off, they completely redid the entire, like, game. It's just like...
They rebooted the franchise, basically. Yeah.
I mean... It turns out that didn't get my game of the year, I don't think, because Resident Evil 7 did instead, but that came out in January.
Right. That's a good January release, though.
No, AC Origins... No. Actually, let's talk about 2017 as the best year ever. This is the Police, Wolfenstein 2, What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah.
AC Origins, Resident Evil 7, and Prey. All came out that year.
Yeah. 2017 was a good year for...
It's the rule of sevens, I'm telling you, man.
That's right.
1997, 2007, and 2017. I cannot wait for 2027.
That's right.
But yeah, I think 2017 was probably my favorite fall because like that was just a whole bunch of big hits. And I think it did pretty good. Worst fall was probably the current generation first fall. Like when the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 came out, and it was like, here's a bunch of remasters and Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah, and like a lot of nothing. Like the launch, I feel like the launch lineup for both consoles were okay, and then it was pretty quiet. And nothing like the Switch, where it's like every month, every other month, you got a big game coming out for like the next year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also asks, with the looter shooter genre hitting an all-time high, it begs a question, what's your favorite handheld firearm in a video game? What were the specs, ammo, and function, and even aesthetic to put it on your top slot?
Oh, best firearm.
I'm going to put out one that I think will probably surprise everyone that's listening to this show.
Is it a Destiny 2 one?
It is the Needler from Halo.
Yep.
That's one of the best guns in video games.
Yeah.
Which version of it, though?
I wouldn't know.
It's got to be Halo 2. It's got to be Halo 2.
Halo 1 wasn't great.
No. Halo 2 was the one where it was just like, wait, a couple of beats? Pooh.
Yeah, that's the good one.
That was the one that started homing in on people too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just, I think from the look of it, like this porcupine being on your fist, and it's shooting out these pink darts and then exploding after a period of time. Like it's just the coolest.
I also like the fact that they do, like, aesthetically on that, the needles on the top get less and less as you run out of ammo in the magazine. That's like a really smart touch.
Yeah.
I got another Halo one for you. The OG pistol, aka the most overpowered weapon in all of video game history.
the most accurate pistol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cerebral Bore. Let's go with that for the old school fans. Terrible games.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love my N64 first-person shooters. There are some really good ones in there. I'm looking at you, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's Turok. And Turok 2.
Turok's Foggy Disaster.
Mm-hmm. But they also gave us the Cerebral Bore, which looked like a monstrosity, and then fired a ball, like a ping pong ball, that just homed onto people, drilled into their head, and then exploded.
Yeah.
And it was called the Cerebral Bore.
It's so good. It's literally on the tin.
Mm-hmm.
See, I've got two. Okay. Since you brought up Perfect Darkness, of course, the laptop gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the original game, because nothing beats setting up a sentry gun and just having people run into it.
Yep.
My other favorite weapon is the Sheepinator from Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, the Sheepinator. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes.
Also, the disco gun is good too.
Yeah, speaking of disco gun, we can't forget the all-time greatest musical themed weapon of all time.
The dubstep gun.
There we go.
That's my alarm to wake up to.
I forgot about the dubstep.
Specifically, I love the fact that they have so many different skin variations for it, and each skin produces different music.
Yep.
So good.
I think, going old school, I think the double barrel shotgun from Doom 2. I think that's always been a personal favorite, and them bringing that back and making it really strong in Doom 2016 is really great.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Destiny, and I'm trying to think of a gun that I would really recommend.
Cryptic Dragon.
Cryptic Dragon is just a great name. Destiny guns have great names.
The reason Cryptic Dragon has such a special place in my heart is because, one, it was the very first gun that I unlocked, so that thing kept me in Destiny 1 all the way into the end. And two, it had, I think it was called Solar Flare, where if you killed an enemy with a headshot with it, it would blow up in a solar flare and possibly blow up. Yeah, Firefly, that's what it was, and possibly blow up other enemies with it.
Mm-hmm.
That to me was the best gun.
Yeah, there was I guess my pick would probably be, it's like the most basic choice, but Hung Jury SR4 from Destiny 1. It's like the gun that if you got it when it was being sold, it was the perfect role for a scout rifle, and that kept me throughout the entirety of Destiny 1. Just every raid, every activity, PvP, PvE, whatever. Like I managed to keep that. That was pretty good. And there's a gun in Destiny 2 and Exotic that it's a pulse rifle that shoots 2 black holes, and if enemies die and they explode in like small purple black holes, and I never remember the name of it, and the gun is awesome. But I talk about Destiny enough as it is, so. Jimbo Jangles sends us an email. We talked about this in an earlier TVGP episode, but I want to bring it back, see if we change our opinion here. Hey there, TVGP. So I'm sitting here eating cookie dough and thought, hey, what's my dream game? I gotta say, it's a Gears of War game that plays just like Red Alert / Command and Conquer. Top-down base building, awesome metal soundtrack, and goofy live-action cutscenes that give you the mission rundown along with the campaign. Replay either side. What is your dream game, TVGP?
His is actually a pretty good shout. Microsoft are buying studios, buy like whatever it is, not Redmond, that's EA's home base.
What are they calling their CNC studio now?
I can't remember what it used to be called.
It used to be called Westwood.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah. Buy that studio and like just hire everybody back and make it Gears of War themed. You could do it with Halo. You could do it with Gears. Come on.
Sure. I mean, you make Gears pop.
Who's doing the Halo Wars games right now?
Creative Assembly, I believe, is doing that.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I think they're not happy about it too.
Reading between the lines, they don't seem like they want to keep making those games.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And it pays the bills.
Yeah.
Perfect game. The perfect game. Oof. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't think I could make the perfect game, even if I had my choice of everything, because if I could do that, I'd be a multi-billionaire, I'm sure.
I'm trying to think of more games that would... more series that would fit into weird genres, like a point-and-click adventure or like a top-down puzzle. You know, like when Lara Croft Go got announced, and we're like, okay.
And everyone was like, what? And
yeah, like this is gonna be stupid.
One of the best games ever.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, this is really good. Also, that Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris.
Temple of Osiris, yes.
Yeah, that was a great game too. Put Lara Croft in anything, apparently, is my shorthand here.
Do the swan dive off the diving board into the pool, and then, you know, magic happens.
So Lara Croft in the Olympics. I like it. Coming on the Switch.
Oh, yeah, Lara Croft in an Olympics game would be hilarious.
She just wins everything.
I don't know. If you turn any game into a Disgaea type game, I'd probably take a decent crack at it.
Ugh, no, don't let Nippon Ichi anywhere near any of your valued IPs, folks.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Nippon Ichi probably won't be around much longer. So
yeah, which sucks.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what visual novels are sort of hot right now. I wonder if there'd be make like a Halo visual novel.
Actually, yes. Make me a Halo visual novel that's based on the books, because it's the only way you're going to get some of these Neanderthals to read the GD books.
Read a book, people. Yeah. Not Harry Potter. Read something else.
I know people will judge me rightly or wrongly for saying this, but the Halo books are actually genuinely well-written sci-fi novels. Like,
unlike the Mass Effect books, which had some problems.
Well, I mean, the thing with the Halo books is they are all like ridiculously complex, like talking about basically naval maneuvers in space.
Right.
So you're talking about like using planetary gravity to get a whole bunch of speed up, and then launch a mag cannon after that to try and get that to maximum speed to make it through alien shields. And it's just like, okay, whatever's going on here, you're painting the picture in my head, and I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, because even reading the books that cover Halo 1, 2, and 3, it almost feels like the books are a thinking man's game, and the games are just I'm just going to show up and shoot something.
A shooty bang bang.
Because like the vast majority of the Halo lore is in the books. You barely get anything from the first couple games, so
yeah.
Like The Fall of Reach is an incredible book, and it's like that tells you the whole thing of how humans met these aliens. Like, not many people know, but the Spartans were not actually invented to fight the aliens. The Spartans were invented to stop a civil war.
Yeah, to stop terrorists.
Yeah, like that's what they were there to do.
Yeah, go make that into a visual novel or like a point-and-click adventure or something.
Also, the Spartans were kidnapped as children.
Yeah.
And clones were left to die.
Yep.
Read the books, people. Read the book, sheeple.
I'm trying to think of anything else. You guys mentioned Halo Wars. I'm trying to think of anything else that would really fit in that sort of genre of sort of small-scale real-time strategy games. I don't really know. I feel like Gears is kind of like Jimbo Jangle said, Gears is kind of the perfect pick there.
I mean, I'd like to see a Smash, but for everybody. Like, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Smash is going that way anyway, where it's basically just everyone getting involved anyway.
Give it another year.
Yeah, give it another year or 2 more releases, and all of a sudden you've literally got everybody in there. But, I mean, I've talked about it frequently enough recently, but the Jump Force game, or the Shonen Jump Heroes on the 3DS is one of my favorite games of all time, and that's just Smash with anime characters.
But with all the anime characters.
Yes, all of them.
Yeah.
So you want to be Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus, hollow transformed Ichigo from Bleach. You can do that, that's fine.
Yep. Moonpeer asks in Discord, what's the ideal exclusivity window regarding timed platform exclusives?
I specifically asked this because I've got about 10 timed exclusives installed on my Xbox that I haven't touched.
Right.
Because the window where everybody was playing it has passed.
Yeah.
Whatever that snooty indie developer guy's name is, that game he made.
The Witness.
There we go. I didn't even know the name, and the fact that you knew it from that.
I knew as soon as you said that it was Jonathan Blow. Or like you have the opposite problem where it's like this came out on another platform and it's on my psprices.com wish list because it'll come out on my preferred platform in a year and then I'll pick it up then.
Yeah.
I feel like for me the if there is an obviously the right answer is no platform exclusives because nobody wins. We'll sort of table that.
Can we just specify here as well, specifically console platform exclusives?
Sure.
Because I'm sorry, but if you're getting your underwear wrapped up in a bunch because you have to click one launcher instead of another one on PC, you've got a problem.
Yeah, we're not here for that. I think for me, 6 months feels like the most appropriate. I think because, like, look at Control on Epic Game Store. The rumor is out that they got paid multi-million dollars to help fund the cost of developing this game, and it will appear on that financier's storefront for X amount of time. I feel like if it's on there for 6 months, or if it's on the Xbox One for 6 months and it comes to another platform or vice versa, 6 months is probably a pretty good amount of money. And I think 6 months avoids the No Man's Sky problem with it coming to Xbox One, where it came out and it's like, here's No Man's Sky 2 years later, $60. It's like, go to hell.
Yeah,
that is not
100% on that one.
$60 is way too much to ask for a game that has been improved but has been out for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah. That game. I would really like that game. I know I would.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to...
It's so hard to have it stop fighting you at every turn.
True.
It sounds like a bunch of, because they've been patching it since the last major one, and it sounds like they may have fixed a lot of the original issues that I was having with it. So I've been thinking about going back into it eventually. I just haven't had the time.
And now it's the end of the year, so
yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think for exclusivity of Windows?
I don't really care.
Yeah, you're gonna be playing it like 3 years later anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that and the fact that I've got all 3 consoles anyway, so if there's something that just comes out for Xbox, I have an Xbox One. If it's just for PlayStation, I have a PS4.
Yeah.
Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, so I have a Switch.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm with you, Boston. I think 6 months is a good one. What really bothers me is the non-exclusive exclusives. I'm looking at the Yakuza series specifically only being on the PlayStation. I'm looking at so many Japanese games that nobody bothers to actually put the time and put them out on other platforms.
And they're not even like second-party devs where it's like, before Insomniac got purchased, obviously Spider-Man isn't going to come out on Xbox One because they only put out stuff, except for Sunset Overdrive, they only put stuff out on PlayStation platforms. So it's like, all right, it's not my expectation, but
yeah, like that's the one that bothers me the most. It's there is no deal to make this exclusive to this platform, but it's exclusive to this platform because either they don't have the resources or the ability or the desire to put it on anything else. I mean, how long between PC releases for some of these games that are PlayStation exclusive?
Right. I mean, if they ever come out, because of Japanese developers in some cases, like, Sega is finally getting along with the PC platform suddenly for some reason. But, there's still a bunch of developers who are like, Konami, that stuff's never coming to PC. And and in the US, EA, a lot of cases, sports games don't come to PC at all.
Oh, that's because they can't monetize the ever-loving crap out of them.
It's true.
Because literally you open up Cheat Engine and go, here is my coins, I am done, thank you.
Available now on the EA Origins marketplace. Yeah, those are the ones that bother me where it's like, I understand why they might not want to bother putting a game on Xbox One in Japan. I get it. That's has never been a starter in Japan. But I wonder when the install base gets big enough in the West for that to make it worth. It's like, well, in Japan it just comes out on PS4. In the States it comes out on PS4 and Xbox One.
I think the install base is already big enough.
I think so too.
You take one look at Monster Hunter and tell me that thing did not prove that point.
I think if you want to, I think Monster Hunter is probably your best showpiece for here. A multi-platform game from a Japanese developer and publisher can do really well everywhere.
Resident Evil has always done well, and people will quite rightly brush that off as being, well, that's Resident Evil. That's the exception to the rule. Monster Hunter has never been one of those games. It's never been a grab people's attention and sell bajillions of copies on whatever it's released on. It was about
It's been a
niche.
you tunnel your PSP game.
Exactly. It was almost as niche as visual novels. And then they released it on all 3 platforms. PC slightly behind, I believe, at the time, but they released it on everything.
Yep.
And guess what? It sells hot banging numbers.
It's their best-selling game of all time for Capcom's history.
This is the same people who put out Street Fighter, folks.
Right, Street Fighter
Resident
2.
Evil.
It's insane. All right, next question from Jet Ice 182 in Discord. What game made you the most emotional? For me, it was the first 5 minutes of The Last of Us when his daughter died. I really welled up at that. That was a good moment.
Walking Dead Season 1, Episode 5.
Oh, God, yeah. The end of Walking Dead Season 1 was just like, don't.
Legit tears streaming down my face.
Yeah, just like, no, why? And it's because it's a train wreck you see coming for the other 5 episodes.
Yep.
I must just be a cold soul because I really haven't had that big of an emotional experience with video games.
Well, video games have had a problem.
I will say the very first thing that I ever did, though, was Final Fantasy VII with, of course, Aerith dying.
Well,
but outside of that, I don't know, I'm just callous and old.
Well, and I think video games have always struggled with telling, number one, telling stories. Number two, telling emotional stories, which takes a deft hand that a lot of video games don't have.
Yes.
But we're seeing that more and more, I think, especially in the last handful of years, and I think especially in the indie scene. I think that's what we're... Like, this year, Sea of Solitude came out, a game I was really looking forward to. And it's a testament of how far games have come that I'm, like, rolling my eyes because her manifestation of her depression is this big black monster that's stalking her. And I was like, ugh, another one of these. It's like, video games have come a long way where it's like, this isn't revolutionary. It's like, all right, you're an also-ran if you have a big black depression monster.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
Yeah.
I mean, so many games try to do that and didn't. Like, I didn't get that at BioShock. I didn't get that at BioShock Infinite. I didn't get like
Gears 3. It didn't work for me. People still hold up Gears 3. I thought it was a good moment, but I don't. It did not have the punch for me that I think they were expecting it to.
Well, and that's the thing, because when that went down, I was just like, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's like, cool.
And that was it.
I knew that was gonna happen the whole game.
And even if I didn't, it's Gears of War.
Right.
So
the person I'm playing this game with will play another character.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
The problem is so many of these games actually punch you in the face with the message before it's actually being done. Right. Fallout 4 is a really good example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh no, this person who you're going to go meet who works for the big evil corporation is your son. Spoiler alert for Fallout 4, folks. It's like, I saw that coming 17,000 miles away.
I think the game was always expecting you to say, like, but he's old. And it's like, yeah, man. That's how time works, dude.
For stupid years. I'm like, I'm not stupid.
Well, Fallout has always had. Fallout 3's ending is sort of infamous for its question of, like, why isn't this big lady going in there instead?
The one who's immune to the specific type of radiation that we're talking about?
Rare changes.
Yes. Well, it never does change because it's always ham-fisted as all kinds of crazy. And the ending of Red Dead I thought was good, but didn't bring me that much emotion. The part of Red Dead that actually gave me the emotion was the riding back to the farm, which is like the start of Act 3. Like, that's
good moment.
That's a great moment.
I was ready to get there for Metal Gear Solid 4. And then
I've not played 4.
They get so close where it's like, God, this is the end of Snake. Like, this is the end of his tail. And then they, like, pull that last punch. And it never gets there. And you're like, well, screw you.
And speaking of Metal Gear, though, ending of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
Legit had to put the controller down and walk away because I didn't want to do what the game wanted me to.
Yep. That's a great ending. I feel like I didn't cry at that, but I feel like that's one of the more emotional endings where it's like, I may not understand. At the time, I didn't understand exactly what was at stake for, like, the philosopher's legacy and all that stuff, but, like, the tale of a guy and his mentor that's great.
Yeah, but then you've got the swelling music and stuff. I mean, Kojima's probably got the closest thing to me having a feeling in a video game with the way that the game gets scored too. Because I mean, you've got big moments like that, and you've got the point where Snake's at the White House, and they try to give him the medal, and the music's playing in the background, and you can tell that he's just mad.
Yeah. Well, and there's a really great moment. Metal Gear Solid 3 has those incredible first-person moments you can do in cutscenes, and there's a whole bunch
when you're looking at the grave.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of secret ones, and the one where you're looking in the grave, and, like, part of the screen is blacked out because he lost his eye, and it's all watery because he's crying, and it's like, all right, that's pretty good.
And that's not to say just because I don't have feelings in games that the stories suck.
Sure. Because
there are a lot of good stories in video games. It's just none of them have gotten me that way before.
I just remember that microwave hallway crawling scene in Metal Gear Solid 4. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Last day of June was really emotional. Didn't actually make me cry or upset or anything like that, but that's a really emotional, well-told story in video game format.
Yeah.
Still need to play Hellblade to see what that thing's all about.
Yeah, I haven't played that. T-Bomb Rocks asks us in Discord, what's your most disappointing and most surprising console launch game, handhelds included? Disappointing and surprising.
Racing game. Kudos. Project Gotham 3. Xbox 360 launch game, I believe.
Yeah, that was...
I never played the first two, and then I played that one, and I was like, why have I never been playing these games?
Yeah, and it was so great because they had perfected that game by the time that one came out. It's like, all right, we know exactly what we're doing. Here's this incredible racing game.
I think a disappointment for me was Valkyria Chronicles Revolution, I think it was. Because Sega would not release any Valkyria Chronicle games in the US, and then this finally came out over here. It was a third-person action JRPG instead of the tactical style that Valkyria is known for, and it sucked. It was a very half-ass attempt at Sega trying to do a money grab, and they ticked off a lot of people to the point that they lost a lot of money on Valkyria 4 because a lot of people didn't buy it when it first came out because they didn't know what Sega was doing with it.
Yeah.
So, which Valkyria 4 goes back to the way it should have been, and it's a great game. But yeah, Revolution was hot garbage.
I think one of my biggest surprises from this gen is Power Star Golf.
Yep.
That's an Xbox One launch title, and I think that's one of those games was like, oh, cool, it's like a new Hot Shots Golf. This should be great. And it's like, oh, no, this is
absolutely
really
amazing.
Yeah.
And then you've got the complete flip side of that, which was Crimson Dragon.
Yeah, Crimson Dragon was really, really bad.
I still like the mechanics in playing that game.
Yeah.
Get thee away from me, Satan microtransactions.
Yeah. Over on PS4, Knack was a real downer of a game. Not
a real flop.
Yeah, like not inherently bad. It just didn't do anything. Like it never really went anywhere.
Yeah. Knack on PlayStation Plus 1, please.
Has it ever been? I don't remember.
No, it has been.
I think it was on once.
Yeah.
People asked for that for years.
Yeah, that was the biggest joke.
Let's go back to the old faithful, the N64 launch. With Demo Core, one of the greatest games of all time.
Blast Core here in the US.
Yes. You've got Wave Race, one of the hardest jet ski games I have ever played in my life.
Yep.
And then possibly the best roguelike of all time. We don't know. We'll have to let scientists decide.
Sure.
Star Fox 64/Lilac Wars.
That's a great game.
It's a fantastic game, and it doesn't deserve the hate that thing got.
No. Yeah.
I love that game.
I just looked up the PS1's launch titles, and I have to give a special shout out to Battle Arena Toshinden. Yep. Yeah, because like it's a bad game. It was a bad game then, but like you could see this on a TV in Sears and be like, "Oh my God, 3D games are here! Like I could buy that. I could play that at home."
When the heck did Jetmoto come out?
It wasn't at launch. It was pretty soon after that, though. It was early.
I played the first one and the second one way too much.
Those games were real good. I'm trying to think of. I never really remember the only handheld I got at launch was the PSP, and it was like a bundle with Darksiders, that fighting game, and Lumines, and I picked up like both of those, and I was like, both of these look fine, whatever, like a fighting game and a puzzle game, I'll get both. And it's like, whoops, Lumines is really good.
I mean, the Saturn launched with Virtua Fighter and missed.
Mist on console was so bad. Yeah, was Lumines? Yeah, Lumines was a launch title. Okay. Darkstalkers Chronicle of the Chaos Tower. That's what it was. Other than that, like I historically never get handhelds at launch because there's never anything on them.
I never really pick up any console at launch. Like the ones that we're looking forward to next year, probably not going to get until the year after.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to get them both day one because I'm a sucker.
That's why you keep running into issues.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
So the PlayStation in Europe launched with Wipeout and Ridge Racer.
Oh, what a combo, man.
Along with, Twisted Metal, Rayman, all the rest of the battle rated Toshinden. But Wipeout! It launched with Wipeout in the Europe.
That's so good.
Ridge Racer was another series that I put way too much time into.
Yeah.
Specifically 4.
4 was so good. Oh, man. All right, Moonpeer in Discord asks, licensed games, last great ones you played, are they any good? And then you have another question. Licensed game, great ones you played.
Shout out to Disney's Bolt for Rumor.
So you're talking like movie license or just license in general?
General license games.
Yeah.
I think
Spider-Man.
Yes, Spider-Man is definitely probably one of the greatest licensed games of all times. I miss the crap licensed games, though. I miss the 8-hour single-player campaign Captain America licensed game.
Yeah.
I miss that dumb crap.
King Kong, the movie, the video game.
Yes. I think you'll find it's Peter Jackson's King Kong, the movie, the game. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't...
Cool Spot from the Sega Genesis.
I love
way
Cool
too
Spot.
Much of that.
Yeah, Cool Spot's great. There was a Ronald McDonald game on Super NES. I think it was like a puzzle game.
There was a couple, because that's actually one of my favorite licensed games of all time was McDonald Land, the Mick and Mac Brothers, where it's like a side-scrolling platformer that was ridiculously difficult.
No, this was like almost like they'd call it open world nowadays. You had like this entire factory to go around. You're solving puzzles between different rooms. But you're right. There was this weird thing where like Ronald McDonald showed up in like 5 different titles on the Super NES and Genesis, and they were all different.
Yup.
I've heard that all of the Burger King games were actually really good.
Sneak King was good, and the racing
racing one was meant to be good too.
Yeah, that one was fine. I don't remember the third one, but I remember not liking it that much. I guess you could sort of say the Lego games kind of are, but I feel like they're their own thing now.
Yeah, I feel like they've just become their own thing.
Lego Marvel Superheroes is probably one of my favorite ones, though.
Yeah. Which one?
The first one I like more.
Yeah.
It's not too big.
Yeah, before they go into Lego Batman 3.
Oh my god. I wanted to finish that. It's so good, and just there's too much stuff.
There's nothing quite as embarrassing as when you like look at the rest of what you've got to do after beating the campaign in a Lego game. It's like, oh, I've got another 90 hours to spend in this thing to get.
I have another 8 planets. Yeah. Speaking of, Moonpeer asks another question. Grindy achievements. How grindy is too grindy?
This one was inspired by Dead by Daylight.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, because it's a wholly multiplayer, player versus player experience. So naturally they have some achievements in there, which is about doing X activity a certain number of times.
Right.
So, for example, there is, just using the killers as an example here, there is an achievement for killing. There's several achievements for sacrificing a survivor to the entity. So you've got 1, which is like, yay, you killed your first person.
Right,
Here is an achievement. You've got 10.
Okay, not so bad.
Then you've got 100.
No.
And then you've got 500.
Oh, woof.
And to top it all off, you've got killer-specific ones, which are like, for example, the pig is a good example. So this is the Saw Lady.
Mm-hmm.
Her special ability is reverse bear traps. So she puts a reverse bear trap on somebody's head.
Mm-hmm.
That's her special ability. Her achievement for putting them on people is 125.
Yikes.
The maximum times you can do it in one match on a default loadout is 4.
Oh, wow.
You can use consumables and end up with, like 6 per match or whatever, but her maximum on default settings is 4.
Yikes.
And that's a little ridiculous.
I feel like the one that always bummed me out were the seriously achievements in Gears of War, because I feel like they are inherently grindy. Like the stuff they're asking you to do isn't crazy. It's just the number that they're asking you to do, and it's okay if this is literally the only game you play day in and day out until the next Gears comes out, and it really is an achievement. Like it's a serious thing you've earned, but it's so much, like just the sheer scale where it's like, just play 20,000 PvP matches. It's like, oh my god, like that's an impossible number.
Like, I mean, stuff like that, which is a culmination of everything, I'm a bit more forgiving on, because, like, number one, I ain't ever going to get it. I'm never going to get it.
Just, yeah.
It's the pure numbers ones where it's like, do this 100 times. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a dev and you sit there and you put one of those achievements in your game, divide that number by 2.
Right.
And then that's the number you should be putting in there. Right. Because... like 500 sacrifices is exactly as you said. It's like, yeah, that's fine, 500 sacrifices. I'm about 50% of the way to that, and I play specially as a killer.
There's an in-game achievement. There's a triumph in Destiny 2 for doing 250 strikes in the strike playlist. I play Destiny 2 a lot. I'm at 197. Like, it's so like many
divided by 2,
right?
And that feels a lot more acceptable, because and it's still tough. Your regular casual fools aren't going to get it,
right?
It's only going to be your hardcore players are getting it,
right?
Well, my biggest issue with a lot of them too, besides the insane numbers that people want you to grind out for their games, is when you get very, very specific conditions for an achievement or trophy.
Right.
Like with Halo, I think it was Reach, we're on the specific 7th day of a month at 7 o'clock or some crap.
Right.
You had to have 4 co-op players on a Ghost, and you all had to do something at the exact same time.
Right.
Yep.
Screw you.
Yeah, it's like, I'm never going to get that. Or it's one of those things where it's
Arkham
like...
Asylum Calendar Man. Arkham Asylum has an achievement for interacting with Calendar Man on every single major holiday of the year.
Yep.
Which that...
It's a little less bad, because you can do it solo.
Yeah, and you can go into your system and you can screw up the calendar in your system.
That's true. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But like very, very specific dumb things that you wouldn't normally do, and you need a hefty amount of luck to be able to pull off. It's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Like those achievements where it's like, halfway through this 30-hour game, instead of taking a left, you take a right, and you stand there for 10 minutes, and this rare enemy comes out, and you kill it, and then that gives you an achievement. It's just like, no. How was I going to get that?
The other worst thing that I have is when you get into like JRPGs and they have multiple endings, but no matter how many times you play it, it's still a 30 to 40 hour game.
Well, those don't bother me as much as, like, you see in Final Fantasy VII, where it's like, raise every character to level 99, including Aerith. It's just like, wait a minute. It's just like, I don't want to do this in the first place, nevertheless, for somebody who's there for the first 15 hours.
Yep, get those cacto fights going.
Yeah, that's right. T-Bomb Rocks in Discord has a whole bunch of questions here for us. With all the recent delays in highly anticipated games into next year, it has me thinking about backwards compatibility for the next consoles. With Xbox, we all know Xbox One games will move forward. With Sony, they've hinted most games will move forward. With these delays, do you feel Sony has a good grasp on backwards compatibility?
No. No offense, but no.
I think they do, But
that's probably the polite way of phrasing it, yes.
Yeah, because I think as we see more and more games getting delayed into the first half or the second half of next year, I think it's natural for a lot of people to say, well, just move it to a PS5 game, and that'll make people buy the console, which is wrong. Stop. But I think if you're in Sony's position, it's so much better for people like us that are early adopters. It's like, sure, it works on your PS4, works on your Xbox One, whatever. But man, look at how sick it looks on the Scarlet or the Xbox or the PS5. Like, it 4K, 60 frames, ray tracing, like all this cool stuff. It runs well on the other ones, but like, look at this one, yeah. That's the stuff I feel like they should. That forward compatibility is really what I think they should be trying to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, what did they do with The Last of Us?
The first one or the
first one? Because that was a PlayStation, real late-gen PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah.
That then they waited a couple of months after PlayStation 4 had come out and then re-released it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Sony thinks they've got this in the bag, and I would be the most surprised if they do.
I'm waiting for the second job speech again, because all of the faces are leaving as well. Like, I don't know what's going on with Sony, but
they're seeing the price of the PS5 and they're like, all right, man, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I've got a professional football team that I need to become the CEO of.
Yeah.
Love you, Peter Moore. Thank you for
someone's on the phone. I gotta go. What PS1 era RPG or RPGs would you like to see getting the Final Fantasy VII remake? For me, it would be Grandia, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and Suikoden.
Go ahead, Boone. You got one.
I wish I could remember the name of it.
Okay.
But it was kind of like Pokemon, except you were catching monsters.
That's Monster Ranger?
I don't know the name of it is a problem.
Is that the one where you were getting it with CDs and music?
Yeah. It wasn't that one, I don't think. But it was like
Jade Cocoon?
It looked like Grandia, except it was 3D sprites instead of the 2D sprites.
Okay.
You'd catch monsters, you'd put them in like a mating pit, they'd produce an egg, and then that egg would be a hybrid of whatever the two monsters you put into it, and then you'd have to level that thing up from scratch. It was such Pokemon, like, it was unbelievable.
Yeah. Was it a PS1 game?
I think it was a PS1 game.
I feel like that's Jade Cocoon, but I never played it.
I don't remember raising monsters in Jade Cocoon.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because I thought you just had them and added them. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you the last time I played Jade Cocoon was probably when it first came out.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Jade Cocoon.
I would like to see a remake, like a full HD 4K with voice acting is the most important part. Remake of Vagrant Story. I think
that game's insane.
I think the complexity of the battle system would finally work for people now, because I think everyone would say, "Oh, it's like Dark Souls," but 100% not. But I think the complexity of it would finally make sense for a lot of people, because before then, if it wasn't a turn-based JRPG or it wasn't a hack and slash game, it was too complicated for a lot of people. And that game is great.
You sounded like Annie then, because you were like, it's like Dark Souls, Bert.
And yes. Oh, it's like Dark Souls, Bert.
We need a Bet and Annie review video game segment.
That's right. I feel like this is an obvious one. I sort of would like to see Xenogears and, like, maybe them get the budget and the time to maybe not change the ending, because I'd sort of love to have them re-release it and it still be, like, largely a text adventure at the end, but kind of make it what they wanted it to be.
Strange one. If it's not particularly in these categories, but if we're never going to get another Splinter Cell, which we're not going to get, let's go back to the OG guy and let's get a remake of Siphon Filter.
Yeah.
Give me that sweet taser.
That weird run and everything.
That way you can just set people on fire with a taser.
That's right. In 4K, that's the important part.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of other big PS1 RPGs.
Yeah, Xenogears, Parasite Eve.
Parasite Eve 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Just to have more people play them.
Yeah. I played way too much of the Digimon RPG, which was ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
The Lunar games?
Yeah, I'd like to see them...
The first one was okay, but the second one I really liked.
I don't think I ever played the second one.
I've got the complete box thing that I saved up like tons of money for in middle school.
I do too. I have
the
first two, the working designs, crazy. It pales in comparison to some of the stuff nowadays, but...
No, it doesn't. I mean, I have a solid amulet of the moon in that case over there.
That's true.
It's solid metal.
Yeah.
And I have a real cloth map.
Yeah, they did put out cloth maps.
Yeah, they put out real awesome stuff.
He also asked, during the month of October, did you either watch any horror movies or play any horror games?
Bloodborne.
Yeah. Bloodborne's an awfully spooky game.
Don't think... Well, I played Dead by Friday, but I play that every week. That's not an October thing for me.
You're inoculated to that now.
Yes, I am immune, but except if I'm going against the plague.
Yeah.
I didn't play any horror games. I always mean to sit down and play horror games this time of the year, and then I always forget.
Yeah.
We did just finish watching the Blair Witch Project for ODNF. That came out a couple of weeks ago. So go and enjoy that madness, folks.
Yeah, most recent ODNF for patrons.
Yep. Next movie I have on my schedule is actually going to be in... Hold on. Figure out what date this comes out.
I'm trying to think of what big spooky games have been released this year. I feel like the Blair Witch game was spooky-ish, but not...
Yes, that's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, but not like an outright horror game. I'm thinking of like Until Dawn. I don't think if Man of Medan was like that. That wasn't a horror game, right?
Kind of. It's more of a thriller.
Oh, okay.
In about a week's time from now, I will be watching V for Vendetta because it will be November 5th. Actually, the week before this, I believe. Which is it's my time of the year to watch one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. What are the big horror titles from this year? Blair Witch.
Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 for Switch.
I'm sure there's like a bajillion like horror games out on PC, especially on VR because they always come out.
That's true.
There was another... God, what was the name of the game? There was an indie developer that came out with a game that was pretty much Resident Evil 2. God, I need to look this up. 1998 or something like that? Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, that's a good pick. I totally forgot about that game. I meant to play that. Because it's like a love letter to PS1 / Dreamcast original games.
No, I'm good. I watched the gameplay trailer for that game. It's like, nope, I'm good. I do not need to play that.
Yeah. While Nimp looks that up, let's move on to our next question of... Halloween events and games are currently going strong. What's your favorite holiday-themed event in a game? Mine would be the Christmas event during Phantasy Star Online. It was basic but ahead of its time. That was a good one, seeing the spaceship all dressed up. I liked the idea of the Apex Legends one this year with the dark map and the zombies.
Yeah.
And it seemed fine.
I mean, that's a good one. My problem is I don't really have a favorite event like this because, like, I generally speaking jump in for a little bit, but don't like lose my mind over them. And I mean, Blizzard has some incredible seasonal ones, especially considering they keep them in lore with the universe, especially in WoW.
Destiny 2's Halloween event is fine, but I like the New Year event a little bit better because then you get to throw snowballs at enemies.
I love the fact that someone literally saved a bunch of snowballs for a Dota tournament as well, by the way.
Yep.
That was insane.
I can't think of anything else that's really been that big. I mean, like you mentioned, WoW was always really great.
Yeah.
But that's because you get to see the whole world change. It's not just one location, it's every capital city, every little outpost.
Yeah, and then that's when everybody comes back on because they've got to do those timed events to get those achievements, to get them sweet mounts and mini pets.
Proto Drake, that's right.
That's when you'll see them at its busiest.
Yeah. And lastly, what's your favorite early online enabled game? Mine would be Chrome Hounds and NBA NFL 2K on Dreamcast. I loved the Mech Assaults one for original Xbox.
I believe it was.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. I don't think I played that a ton, but I feel like that was one of my first online interactions with voice chat with people, because I'd been playing online games on PC for since we got the internet. With Doom 2 was online enabled. That was before Quake World. But boy, certainly nothing will beat Xbox 360's Uno for just the amount of people's privates I have seen on an online game. The combination of that coming out with the Xbox Vision camera was real bad.
Yeah, that's
your
true.
own little chat roulette going on there.
It was, you're playing Uno and chat roulette, and
we didn't play with the camera, and we did not let other people show their cameras during the game. Yeah. But my wife would always get those questions of, well, how big are your boobs?
Right.
And that's that's why you don't play with a mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always some 12-year-old kid who doesn't even know what to do with it.
Just learned the word boobs.
Yeah, I think my first one was Halo 2. And that was one of the OG
LAN party Xbox games.
Yeah. That and playing, not online, but playing the Halo 2 was the best one for just general online, but for LAN parties it was Splinter Cell 2, which had the Spies versus Mechs.
Yeah, I never played that. I always regretted not playing it.
It was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
My first online game was Phantasy Star Online on the GameCube.
Oh, on the GameCube, okay.
Yeah, and I don't even know how we got that thing hooked up to the internet to begin with.
Well,
you needed that modem, that 56K modem hooked up to it, and I don't even know where that came from. All of a sudden, one just showed up. We're like, all right, let's try this out, and we figured out what the internet and video games could do, which was not a whole lot at the time.
I played PSO Episode 1, as it would later be called on Dreamcast, and that was like a revolutionary experience. We're just like, oh, I'm in this dungeon with other, these are real people, other real people.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Two, real quick, just to call back.
Sure.
Daymare 1998.
There you go.
So,
yeah.
That took a little bit of searching.
Yeah. All right, our last set of questions here comes from Jimbo Jangles via email. Hey, TVGP, Jimbo Jangles here. Just a few off the top of my head questions for the questions episode. Number 1, what's your biggest gaming pet peeve?
People asking my wife how big her boobs are.
Yeah.
Seeing the amount of flack my wife gets for having lady in her name and sounding like a man.
And the amount of confusion that she posts with messages on Xbox Live where with her name being Bearded Lady, and people were like, are you a lady that has a beard? And it's just like, do you not know what bearded... Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when I fire up a game and there's a loading screen, a lengthy loading screen before I can press start to get to the menu to load another loading screen.
Yep, so say hello to every online game these days, so...
Yeah.
I'm guessing Destiny still does it.
I was going to say hello to Destiny too, because anything you do in that game is a loading screen.
Yeah, and that's, to me, that's I can understand that because you're loading stuff from a server or the internet or whatever. I'm talking about like single-player EA games where it's like, EA, it's in the game, loading screen. Press start, loading screen. I'm going to load my game. Another loading screen. It's just like, please, please. And this is even different from something like Grand Theft Auto where it's like, I have one real long, like I'm going to go make and eat a sandwich loading screen, and that's the only one I'm going to get. This is just, I don't know. Prey was very guilty of that, where it's like, all right, here's a loading screen for another loading screen, and then you'll go back. I hope you didn't go into the wrong area accidentally.
Yes. From games themselves, not a whole lot, because I'm generally super patient, other than what you guys have said. Behavior-wise, salt.
Yeah.
I don't like salt.
You're going to lose every once in a while, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Like, as someone who is above average at video games, like, I believe my skill level is above average at pretty much anything I can play on.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever want a fun conversation, folks, go ask my wife about how before we were engaged or married, we almost broke up because of UFC, the game.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. That's fun. But it's the people who teabag, it's the people who just spam chat or yell into their microphones about how terrible you are. It's like, dude, I'm a fully grown adult. Look at my gamer score and you tell me if you think I'm a fully grown adult or not, because
just
I didn't get that over the 6 months. I got that over like 10 years, dude.
Yeah, I got my first one in Destiny 2 in a long time, where it's just we're playing. I saw that tweet. It's a 6-player free-for-all mode, so like someone's gonna win and someone's gonna lose, and I beat him by 1 point, and he's just the immediate salt, and it's just like, take the element. This match lasted literally 3 minutes. I happened to win. That's okay. Just spend 3 more minutes and win the next one.
Yep.
See, I can do the opposite, where I just say, yeah, look at my trophies, look at my achievements, and you can tell I don't take any of this seriously.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Other gaming pet peeves. I feel like I have less and less as time goes on, because more and more developers are being more vocal about the challenges of creating video games and how much bigger and more difficult they are to create. So I feel like I'm a lot more understanding about bugs happening and long load times and server issues and stuff like that. Like, I've been in those positions where you launch a product and it goes terribly and you're working 72 hours straight. Like, I feel you.
I mean, that also comes from patience. Like, you're a fully grown adult who has a young sprog that you need to take care of.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that an occasional crash in video games is not going to push you as far as your daughter throwing stuff at your face.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long ago the save was.
That's true. And I feel like part of that, too, is if I have a game that doesn't work right now, I have literally 400 other games that I could pop in and go play. So, like, this game's having server issues. That's cool. I'll just pop on over this other single-player game that I have on Game Pass that I haven't tried yet. Like, it's an embarrassment of riches, and that works out in our favor.
It also depends, too, on what the rest of the game is bringing, because like I said before, Control was a glitchy/buggy as hell game.
Yep.
But I still really liked that game for all the flaws that it had. But then there's a different game that I would have talked about 2 weeks before this came out, that there's so much going on right now, it's almost a dumpster fire for me to play it.
Right.
So,
his next question is, what is a feature you want from the new consoles? Mine is offline achievements on Xbox.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Like, get that thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can still earn them offline, but the Blair Witch game that I recently started, where literally none of my progress tracked achievement-wise because I was offline,
is crazy.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
On so many levels. But yeah, that would be a good one.
I would like to be able to play a single-player game without having to wait for something to install for an hour.
Yeah.
And then after it installs, then install the day one patch. And then after that installs, it has to sync with the server. And then once that finally syncs, 3 or 4 hours later, I can finally play the game that I just paid for.
I feel like I want to see. Microsoft eventually got there where like the controllers have headphone jack ports in them. Like I want that to be standard on. I wanted that to be standard on all consoles. Now it seems like it largely is. Like I want Microsoft to have a better remote play app, so I could play stuff that isn't necessarily like controller intensive on some other platform.
I mean, they put an xCloud out. It's just hit the private beta. So
that's true. I gotta install that. I keep forgetting to do that. I want to see. I feel like each console now has the feature parity is pretty solid between the two, and I'm sure we'll get some feature in the next consoles that I can't believe I ever lived without. But
yeah, like party chat, like
party chat, where it's like, oh my god, this is incredible. But I want like all the stuff around the consoles to get better. Like Microsoft has an incredible Xbox One and Game Pass app for your phones. Sony keeps splitting their apps apart and making them worse. I want a remote play PS4 and Xbox One app on my Switch. I know that sounds like a crazy pie in the sky idea, but like
it's gonna happen. You know, it's gonna happen through the Xbox.
I have this console with a controller that's very similar to these other consoles. I'd like to play that stuff remote play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything else because I feel like we're so late in the console cycle now that it's like...
Honestly, get the menus snappy. Like, I don't care what it takes. All UIs, because as much as Microsoft gets a lot of flack for their UI, and they should because it is slow, the PlayStation is not much better. Like,
I don't know, I feel like I'm the only person...
PlayStation I don't have to wait for.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the only person that doesn't have slow issues with my PS4. Unless I'm running a game, then the PS4's UI can get a little sluggish.
I still have the problem like with games, looking them up in stores, trying to search. It'll trip itself up on the Xbox One where it'll just send me to a random game, or it'll just send me to the game store when I search for an actual game by name. PlayStation, I've never had those issues. I can get to whatever I need to. I can scroll to whatever I need to. Xbox, half the time I gotta wait for the stupid console to basically warm up, and then maybe it'll let me go to the store section of the Microsoft page, but who knows?
I really like the improvements that Microsoft has made on the Xbox One dashboard. I still wish that... I like that you can hit the B button to get out of, and like it's like your back button on your browser. Like you can just back out of stuff and back into what you were doing before. I really wish there was like at some point it would, if you're at the home screen, it would stop and it would not let you keep going back. But that's that's a minor thing.
And heaven help you for either console if you happen to click on something and it pulls up the web browser.
just turn it off. Just start back over.
Yes, thank you Apex, by the way, for literally having on the right hand side of the screen on the Apex main menu, like when you load it in, it's got see all challenges, which is your challenges for dailies, your challenges for events, your challenges for the battle pass. Right underneath that is a big button that says follow us, which loads Internet Explorer or Edge on the Xbox One. It's like every time I accidentally click it, I want to throw something.
And you know what's so crazy is I don't want to see that. I want you to open up the patch notes. Like I just want to see the most recent patch notes, which here's the feature
Xbox could do with that.
Yes, please. I love on the PS4 being able to fire up my console and say, these are the 3 games that just updated. I can go to them and I can see patch notes. As long as it doesn't say bug fixes and feature improvements, I will burn this house down. I really wish I could see that on the Xbox One, because it's sort of like I was really waiting for a patch on that game. I didn't know if it ever happened. I don't know if it did, what changed in it, and I can't find anything on their website. So like, I just lost the ether on that one.
Yeah, it's just bug fixes and performance improvements makes me laugh because it makes me think of the Outer Worlds, because there's literally a terminal in there that says like start it, hit it, kick it, wait a little bit. I have to place the 8 entries in total, and then moves on to the actual thing. It's like, yep, you literally wrote that in there because you have to put something in there, and you did the laziest thing you could do.
It's so good. Next question. Have you ever started a game over as a different class and found the game more enjoyable? I recently did that in Torchlight 2.
Mass Effect 2. Once I'd already beaten everything there was to beat in that game, I tried out the teleporty shotgun guy, and I loved it.
Oh, wow.
I played through that on the hardest difficulty, which means you play as a soldier because you need the survivability.
Yep.
And then when I did that, I restarted it as the teleporty shotgun guy. I was like, this is amazing! Zoop, zoop, zoop.
See, I usually know what I want class-wise out of a game.
Well, that's because you do 66,000 hours of research before you hit the A button to start it.
And I play things like Dungeons and Dragons, so I understand stats and stuff.
You know what you're looking for.
The closest thing that I had was with Dragon Age Origins, because I went through and played all, 7 or 8?
8.
Of the origin stories, and I picked different classes for each ones that would go with the race. And then I think I ended up going with a human two-handed noble person in that one, just because it felt good in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I liked a lot of what they did, but that was probably the closest thing. I've never fully played a game and then thought, oh, let me try this, like with Skyrim, or even with Oblivion or Morrowind.
Mm-hmm.
I usually spec up my characters a certain way where I am a stealth assassin for the most part.
Right.
And if I can't kill it, I can talk my way out of it.
Right.
So...
yeah.
I end up, anytime I try and do that, like if it's a game like Skyrim or anything like that, I try and play it a different way, but then I always revert back to my same old way of playing, which ends up then just turning my class slowly but surely from like the alchemist mage into the stealth archer guy, and it's just like, well, I've gone and ruined it now anyway.
Next question is, this may be a tough one. Favorite movie based off a video game? Maybe a video game movie you disliked the least if you have no favorite.
The original Resident Evil. It will forever
that wasn't too bad.
That was giving me my pick. I like that they did something different with it, but kind of still made a zombie movie, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Like they stuck as close to these stories they could, while also infusing sections from later game story into it, with like the AI girl and everything else.
There's that dope laser hallway scene.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
The Ratchet and Clank movie wasn't bad.
I have still not watched that yet.
I mean, it's not going to win any awards, whatever the hell the awards are now, but it was fun to watch. My kids really liked it.
I thought Spider-Man Far From Home was a pretty good adaptation of the Spider-Man 2018 game.
There you go. What else has been out there? I didn't see the Silent Hill movie.
Apparently it's meant to be okay, and it also has one of the grossest scenes in movie history, which I've actually seen via GIF format about 1 million times.
Oh, okay.
Is it the barbed wire?
No, it's the ripping of skin.
Oh boy. Okay. What else? I didn't see the Doom movie. Any of the Doom movies. Not that there's another one out.
That movie's bad.
Yeah.
The one with the rock.
Yeah, the one with the first person section.
Yeah.
What other?
There was a Prince of Persia movie that came out. Did the Assassin's Creed movie ever come out?
It did.
It did. I heard that was fine. It's on my short list to watch.
Also canon because it's included in Odyssey's real world thing.
Yep, they took the different animus and started putting it in the games.
Oh, bless my heart. How could we forget? The Warcraft movie came out like 2 years ago, dude.
No, I was getting to that. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. Although
it seems fine.
For a good movie, Resident Evil takes it. I think that is a good, really good movie based on a video game. For the best bad one, we gotta go with Mortal Kombat. The first one is a ridiculously good movie considering how trashy it is.
What about the Street Fighter movie, though?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But the Street Fighter movie, I feel, is bad, whereas I feel that Mortal Kombat is a good bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, Raul Julia is in the Street Fighter movie with, that line, which I will not make that line come up again for the 50th time this year.
I haven't seen Detective Pikachu yet, although I want to because it looks super cute.
Mm-hmm. Advent Children. That's a pretty solid movie.
Yeah, Advent Children's not bad. I think it was much better. I think in hindsight it wasn't that great, but when it came out, it was really good.
Yeah.
I forgot about DOA Dead or Alive. The movie's so bad.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
That movie inspired a series we were going to have where we were going to make DVD commentary tracks for video game movies. Technical problems blew that show up, but that movie's atrocious.
How are we forgetting about the worst of the lot? Super Mario Brothers?
That was...
No, you cannot defend that movie.
That, I really wish we would have put out the commentary track for that. So basically we recorded 4 people at once. It was myself, Knobs, Brad, and Ryan. For some reason, it recorded fine throughout the entirety of it. When I went to go edit it, Brad's track was just completely gone. It's one of the funniest things we've put out because that movie is just a garbage fire.
Mm-hmm.
It was 90 minutes of us just in disbelief at how bad that movie was. I never saw the Hitman movie. I am a Timothy Oliphant.
It's a Timothy Oliphant movie, so it's quality from top to bottom.
I'm an Oliphant, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. It's not great. It's okay.
Yeah.
And then the Tomb Raider movies, they made, 2 of them?
They made 4.
Second one's coming out soon.
Really?
No, second one's coming out soon.
2 Jolie movies, then the reboot, and the new one as well.
Yeah.
So they rebooted them?
With like
Angelina Jolie in the 90s.
Alicia Vikander, something, whatever her name is for the new ones. Basically, watching the trailer of the new one, they just retell the story of the rebooted video game beat by beat.
Well, whereas the Jolie ones was very much a telling of the original games beat by beat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Next question here. We only have 2 left. If the TVGP crew could all be in the same room and play a video game or board game together, what would it be?
Are family around? Because if family around, then Cards Against Humanity goes out the window.
Yeah.
I think that would be the only thing we'd enjoy. I can't play Risk with you guys.
Risk Factions on the 360. That's one of my favorite multiplayer games because it isn't really a Risk game. It's like Diet Risk. And I think that game is really good.
Stupid competitive with Risk, with Catan.
Perfect.
With everything. I mean, to the point that me and 4 of my buddies were playing games that we would leave at each other's houses. Like one guy would have one at his house, I would have one at mine, and so on and so forth. And we would take weeks to play these games. And there would be times where we wouldn't talk with each other for months on end, depending on how the game went. So we get stupid competitive with that stuff.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm not good at board games because, number 1, I don't play them enough, and also, number 2, I can't play a competitive board game with my wife.
Well, and nowadays, we can't even afford a board game. Half of them are like $200 Kickstarters.
Dude, we've got
Might I suggest Oregon Trail? It's a card game, $10 at Target.
I
play it a lot with the kids. It's cool. A fantastic. I will pull it out of the closet once we're done and show you.
That's cool.
I have so many. My wife has so many board games downstairs in our cat room. It's ridiculous. I would play the You Don't Know Jack ones because playing them online is fun. Playing them in the same room is different.
Make some filthy raps.
I designed some nasty t-shirts so I can get them made and then wear them inside my house and never leave the house with them on.
I feel my only choice is a fighting game that nobody has played before, because I feel like that is just like I'm gonna play this stupid character. What does he do? I don't even know.
Yeah, let's boot up Dragon Ball Fighters and then see exactly how we all do because none of us actually own it.
Yeah, or like play Smash or something. Like I feel like that's the go-to. Where it's just like, let's play Smash. Everyone, it's 3 buttons. I know how to play that. Don't write in. I know Smash.
It's 3 buttons if you're a noob. I mean, come on.
I'm a noob. I'm so bad at Smash.
I would also play just the trivia games too. I think just having just stupid dumb fun popcorn trivia game. Maybe a little bit of liquor.
I miss the CNET games from 360 with that special controller and everything.
Yep.
Like those games were great. All right, and the last question here. I didn't mean to leave like the biggest question here for the end.
Sure.
Oh, is this the political one?
What game defined 2019 for you?
I mean, there's 2.
Okay. I don't
Dead by Daylight.
Okay.
And there is Apex Legends.
Sure.
Because Dead by Daylight number 1 it was a non-starter for me when my wife was playing it. Mm-hmm. Like my wife got hardcore into that game, and when she was playing it was a complete non-starter for me. It was like, okay, I played a little bit and enjoyed it, but I wasn't interested in going back. Now I play every single Friday night.
Right.
Like it's insane how much fun I've had with that game. Like, and ups and downs, technical issues, non-technical issues, just issues in general. The game doesn't load. The game doesn't want to start for like T. Like, that kind of defines this year where it's had its lows, it's had its ups, but things look like they are getting better. So if you're talking about a definition of 2019, it's that, or the second choice for me, Apex Legends, for a similar thing. It has these spectacular highs and even more spectacular lows because of the issues that both games have had going throughout the course of the year.
Right. I mean, I guess unfortunately it sort of has to be Destiny 2 for me. But I've been playing that for the Destiny franchise for 5 years at this point, so I feel like that's kind of a given. I'm trying to think of anything else that's had a similar amount of staying power, and unfortunately, I didn't. I like Apex Legends, but I haven't gotten into it as much as I should have, because I think I would really enjoy it if I did.
I mean, if we're going off the whole definition thing, then Anthem is your perfect summation of 2019. So much potential wasted.
I was actually going to say Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
I think Borderlands 3 is, on one hand, I haven't played it. On one hand, it is another case of a franchise refusing to grow over a long period of time. Like Borderlands 3 should have been, from a humor and a writing standpoint, all this stuff, just a light year away from Borderlands 2. And then it has the disingenuity that the video game industry does right now, where it's like, we're not going to do any of this stuff, we're not going to do any of this, live game sort of stuff. Here's our first limited time seasonal event. She's like, okay, cool. You just went right back on those choices. So I feel like,
not to mention it's got I'm not even going to mention his name associated with magician. It too. Yes.
Let's use his tarot card.
Yes. He's an upside down magician, please, if we're going to go tarot card themes.
Yeah, I 2019 has been a really... We'll probably talk about this during our top 10 and our predictions episode at the end of the year. 2019 has been a really weird year where there have been a lot of really, really great games and a lot of really big games. And the industry is at one time getting way less greedy and at the other time way greedier at the same time.
Yep.
It's been a really weird year. The nymph has frozen.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you. It's just I'm not going to restart it right now since we're at the end.
Yeah. What game has defined 2019 for you, Nimp?
Honestly, I would have to go back with Control for me, because that was a game that I did not pay attention to at all for trailers or anything. Didn't care about it.
Dare you not care about a Remedy game? Do you know who you do a podcast with?
It's a good thing my camera's not working right now because you could see all the care that I have right now.
All the little fingers in the world.
But
I think he dropped for real now.
Yay!
Well, it's an episode, so we of course have to have some Skype technical issues. I think we will. Yep, there it is.
Here we go.
Oh,
sorry,
hey.
I kept talking on my recording end because I was like, it'll connect here again in a second.
Okay, that'll be some fun crosstalk for you peeps at home.
Yeah. Control is the game that I would pick just because, like I said, I wasn't paying attention to it, didn't watch anything for it, and then had seen had heard that it was based off of the SCP stuff, which I really enjoyed the lore of, and then just went all the way in with that game.
It was like us with Prey in 2017. Where it's like, Prey, whatever. Like, you're going back to Prey, who cares? And they're just like, oh, God, this game is so good.
Yeah. So.
All right, well, thank you very much, everyone, for sending in your questions. We recorded way longer than I thought we would, which is great for you guys. Less great for us because we have another episode to go record. So thank you very much for everyone for listening. TVGP.tv for all the stuff. And we'll see you all next week.
Ciao.
Goodbye.